Okay, we're going to start with the next session. It's in relation to the regenerative forestry business, a bridge to low carbon development and social equity in Indonesia. So to achieve a low carbon development and strengthening ecosystem resilience, it have to be built upon a fair and sustainable value chain that ensures an equitable distribution of benefits. And the strategy is by implementing a conceptual framework known as RFB. But the question is how to ensure this scheme or this program or this initiative can deliver equal benefits and carry out social justice for local communities while safeguarding the forest sustainability. What policies, incentives, financing required to accelerate the adoption of RFB, and what are the main challenges in implementing RFB forestry business in Indonesia? Before we start with the discussion, allow me to welcome our keynote speaker. She is the Director General of Sustainable Forest Management from the Ministry of Forestry, Republic of Indonesia. Please welcome Ibu Laksmi Wijayanti.
Hello, hello. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates and all attendees, good afternoon. It is an honor for me to be here at COP30 to discuss a future for forestry that is not just sustainable but regenerative. As you can see today, today's agenda is a crucial matter in Indonesia's forest sector. There's the issuance of presidential regulation regarding opening up carbon market in Indonesia, in which Madam Mezani will explain later after me. And there's also the transformation of forestry business into regenerative forest business, a fundamental shift from extraction towards regeneration or integrating ecological conservation with inclusive economic development through the multi-business forestry scheme. These two major policy shifts are very crucial and heavily related in terms of our policy in putting forestry as the major pillar of Indonesia's green growth. Under the law, the regenerative forestry business framed through multi-business model is built by three mutual pillars. The first one is ecological pillar, in which business permit holders must incorporate the utilization of ecosystem services into their business, thus guarantee their own sustainability, achieving low carbon and conservation objectives, and optimizing efforts to rehabilitate degraded lands. By integrating ecosystem services, which includes, among other, carbon sequestration and habitat conservation, each management unit or concession holders will be fully contributing to ecological restoration and strengthening ecosystem restoration. The second pillar is economic pillar, in which the new model push the traditionally exclusive timber-based business into a diversification of both non-timber products and ecosystem services products. Regenerative business unlocks all potential of non-timber forest products optimization, in which drives the businesses to be more inclusive, particularly with local farmers and communities, and frame their business based on collaborative frameworks. These businesses is hopefully enhance our great potentials, among other, in resin, honey, sap to functional food products ranging from sagu spices, fruits to coffee and cocoa. Regenerative business will put up front the innovation of agroforestry as well as silvopasture or silvofisheries in which directly benefiting the livelihood of communities. The third pillar is the social pillar, in which basically strengthen the importance of forest utilization to alleviate poverty. It is the main core of our social forestry in which communities will have direct access to utilize the business. Through regenerative business, we are building mechanism to directly connect social forestry and non-timber forest products from community to premium markets and international buyers. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important output of this talk show is to create a bridge between best practices in the field and the needs of the global market. Non-timber forest products from the Regenerative Forestry Scheme have a unique story or narrative of conservation and community empowerment. This is a very strong selling point for buyers in the specialty food, natural ingredients, and sustainable fashion segments. We invite buyers to see firsthand the potential of coffee and various non-timber forest products from agroforestry schemes, certified organic forest honey, and essential oils from endemic plants. It will be discussed by Senior Advisor to the Ministry for Regenerative Multi-Business Task Force. We also present case studies of large-scale nature-based solution implementation developed by state-owned enterprise, as will be discussed by PT Pupuk Kujang here. And we are ready to facilitate meetings between global carbon investors and high-integrity forest management units that possess high potential for carbon sequestrations and stocks. The government has prepared a package of policy and incentives that facilitate green investment and partnership between the private sector and communities, as the Institute of IDH and APHI presenter will discuss this in more detail. So, please utilize the talk show session today and the subsequent business-to-business matching to open new networks and partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Laksmi, for the keynote. And as informed by Ibu Ami earlier, in relation to the Presidential Regulation number 110, we are going to have a special presentation which will be delivered by the Secretariat of the Carbon Economic Value and GHG Emission Control Implementation Team. Please welcome Ibu Meizani Irmadiani.
For the slides. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here today to give you a little bit of a presentation around the new regulation that just came out last month by the Indonesian government, by the president. First of all, let me introduce you to myself. I'm Meizani Irmadiani. I'm the special staff for the Coordinating Minister for Food Affairs in Indonesia, as well as here representing the Secretariat for the implementation team of the new regulation. So I have slides actually, but I don't know how to, okay. So we just, Indonesia just came out, the president came out with a new presidential regulation number 110 last month. It actually coincides with another very important regulation, number 109, around waste to energy regulation in Indonesia. So both of this really sets the tone for how Indonesia is seeing the future growth of our country and how we want to push both the economic sector and new economic growth around the green and blue economy. And in this presidential regulation number 110, what's critical is that the key element of this is really around building a high integrity carbon markets for Indonesia and for the world. And next slide. The new regulation really focuses on strengthening Indonesia's competitiveness. So as you all know, Indonesia is Indonesia's value in the natural resources as well as fueling the technological and energy transition for the world is critical. So we see this as the Director General, Bu Yanti, has explained as well, key to the presidential regulation, one of the backbones are in the forestry sector, on the FOLU sector. We know that the forestry and land use businesses in Indonesia facing the future, as the Director General mentioned, is really focusing, transitioning, not just on the production aspect, but also integrating both the production within protection to ensure global competitiveness for the future. And the carbon markets is a way to achieve this transition and these building blocks for the future. The other main proposition and the main agenda of this presidential regulation, also as we know, critical to Indonesia's global green growth, is also the energy transition. Energy transition, the way we generate electricity and also others is really critical towards the future of Indonesia. We also look at not just the FOLU sector and energy, which comprises the majority of Indonesia's critical effort towards green growth, but also looking at green industrialization as well as socio-economic empowerment and integrating other sectors critical to Indonesia, not just from the mitigation sector, but also the adaptation, which includes blue carbon, oceans, and the coastal zones. We are targeting around up to $7.7 billion annual potential for Indonesia's high integrity as well as this ever-connected carbon market. And what does this mean, actually? I think one of the critical things, it's quite a long, we have also the English translation for the presidential regulation. It's quite a long regulation, but critical to this in principle is that Indonesia really acknowledge that not only that we have to achieve our NDC, it's critical to our growth and our commitment, but it's also important that we will pursue all available finances for the development of this sector to scale up climate finance. So if we look at the slides here, you can see that this presidential regulation really comprises an integrated effort approach that includes both non-carbon markets, non-market mechanisms, and as well as the carbon market mechanism. So non-carbon markets like the ones we have been pursuing and will continue to look at and focus on, like result-based payments and other mechanisms. But in the carbon markets itself, as we know, it's critical. There is the compliance market, both on the Article 6, can be non-CA or CA, corresponding adjustment, but also focus on the voluntary carbon market and the VCM to be able to move forward together with the compliance market as well as the non-market mechanisms for Indonesia. So this is a critical part of the new regulation that came out. Next. And just to again emphasize, in order to achieve this new, it's called Perpres, this is presidential regulation, it really focuses on the three fundamental changes. So integrating climate into the growth agenda of Indonesia. So we believe, the government and believe that in order to achieve our economic growth agenda, we have to put climate also as in the forefront, pursuing this green growth, not just from the economic targets, but also capacity building as well as ensuring that Indonesia's manpower in the future are leading in these sectors as well. The other main purpose of this, main building blocks of this regulation is also to really streamline processes. So as we know, is it multi-sectoral, not just Folu Energy and others. It really requires streamlining of the process for, especially on the offset trading, to ensure that it is high integrity, as well as there's no double counting. So recognition of high integrity international standards included within this new regulation is critical. And the other piece, if you see the second building blocks, the carbon markets in Indonesia will operate all year round. So in ensuring that allowing the carbon market trades to take place without waiting for the NDC achievement, but ensuring that we also commit and achieve our commitment within the global agenda. The other main pillar, the third pillar, which is quite important as well, is because we recognize that this effort is multi-sectoral. One of the key element of this new regulation is the demarcation of roles, meaning that each of the technical ministries will have a critical leadership on each of the sectors, ensuring that projects within that falls under technical ministries like the forestry as well as the energy and mineral is really, they have their leadership and ensuring that the processes goes in hand for the future of this effort, but also ensuring that the other piece of this regulation is ensuring that the NDC commitment is also moving along. The Minister of Environment is overseeing the NDC achievement. So how do we actually achieve this is also important. I think the next slide, we talk a little bit about how one of the importance of the regulation, if we want to push the agenda to ensure the mobilization of climate finance, we have to ensure that there is clear guidelines that ensures no double counting and that the system is interoperable with other international trade and market mechanisms. So ensuring that there's ETS linking and bilateral agreements, as well as ensuring that international trade without transfer of carbon units is clearly written within the registry system, which I will talk about as well in this next slides. So within, this sounds complicated, right? A little bit. Because it's multi-sectoral. But actually, one of the key elements of this new regulation is the establishment of the steering committee. So as we know, in Indonesia and many other countries in the world, there is technical ministries. But how do we ensure that this effort that is really part of the critical program of the Indonesian government can run smoothly, as well as ensuring that we have moving along things together with the buyers and other stakeholders, is that there's an establishment of the National Steering Committee, or what's called Komite Pengarah in Bahasa Indonesia. So this committee actually represents quite an important element to ensure that first there's the leading of the coordination. So ensuring that one of the key elements of this new regulation, so if you ask, how does the technical ministries ensure that the allocation or the permits that they will provide to the stakeholders, like the independent power producer in the energy sector or in the sector of forestry for the license holder, how do they ensure that this connects both within their scope but also nationally? So this steering committee will also ensure the carbon allocation of the targets is allocated well, that links to the carbon market roadmaps, as well as ensuring procedure that links between these different sectors. The other piece, as the Director General mentioned, we will be also coming out with different regulations to ensure the operations of this new presidential regulation is done well. So the role of the steering committee is also ensuring that the guidance for these different policy that needs to be done on the sectoral ministry level is according to the overall vision of the policy itself. This will also include the establishment of the carbon registry unit as a national system as well, and also procedures on offset trading within sectors, as well as multi-sectoral as well as cross-sectoral. So the previous regulations really focuses on each sector. With this new regulation, we can do cross-sectoral trading as well. The next phase, the next step, no, we're still at the same. Yeah, the next step of the steering committee is also ensuring the monitoring and evaluation, because there's a lot of work to do. The carbon market roadmap, the sectoral technical regulations, the creation of carbon registry and others. Ensuring the monitoring and evaluation is done well as reporting to the president, because again, this is a critical agenda for the president of Indonesia. So I won't go too detailed into this, but one of the key elements of the new carbon regulations is also the establishment of both the national registry for SRN, which is the national registry for all of the work that we have, both mitigation effort as well as adaptation. But there's also a new registry system, which is called SRUK, which is basically, it's a carbon unit registry for the entire carbon markets mechanism. So this two registry will be interoperable, so making sure that this is very well streamlined. But what's critical in the SRUK is ensuring that all transactions, all retirement credits or all transference are well registered in one system, so to prevent any double counting and to ensure high integrity. Because what is also relevant within the new regulations is that we are open to markets, but we are also ensuring that apart from having a critical system that's well integrated in the national system, these systems are actually can be operable with existing carbon market mechanisms. So this is will be to ensure that all of the work, both on the crediting side as well as the registration side, is well documented for the future. Next. So, yeah, next slide. Basically, just to say that SRUK, or the carbon unit registry system, will have to have critical principles like transparency, traceability, real time, and other main principles to ensure the high integrity of the system itself. So this is a critical pathway within the presidential regulation. So basically to say that one of the critical element, the special envoy for climate and energy yesterday, who opened the Indonesia pavilion, has mentioned very specifically that Indonesia recognize our competitiveness and our importance in the global market for carbon and nature-based solutions, as well as energy transition. And we are open to use to any financial mechanisms, and this presidential regulation really sets the tone for ensuring that when we develop our carbon markets, it's not just about numbers, it's also about the quality of the efforts that we do, ensuring that within that co-benefits to biodiversity, benefits to local community and customary communities is well recognized and well implemented for the future of the green growth in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Meizani, Irma Diani, for the special presentation. So with the issuance of the new regulation, we know that the government, in pursuing the economic growth, is not neglecting or jeopardizing the social justice and the environmental aspects. But I think it's worth to mention that it becomes paramount to have a solid coordination across all the sectors among the stakeholders, the ministries, for the efforts, the operations to roll out effectively. Okay, so let's start with the discussion. I would like to invite all the speakers to come to the stage. Being the first one, he's the Principal Advisor to the Minister of Forestry, Regenerative Forestry Task Force. Please welcome Bapak Silverius Oscar Unggul. And his stage name is Bang Onte. Joining online, Director of Operations and Production of PT Pupuk Kujang, Arliza Eka Wijayanti. Secretary General Indonesian Forestry Entrepreneurs Association, Bapak Purwadi Supriyanto. Silakan. And last but not least, please welcome CEO and Chair of Executive Board IDH, Dan Wensing. And to lead the session, he is the Technical Policy Analyst of International Cooperation from the Sustainable Forest Management Ministry of Forestry Indonesia, Pak Dedi Humaydi.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mona, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for your participation in Indonesia's pavilion. And in this session, we will talk about the regenerative forestry business, a bridge to low carbon development and social equity in Indonesia. To discuss this matter, we have four distinguished speakers from different background to give a wide perspective on this issue. Without further ado, I would like to invite first Pak Onte, Pak, please, to give your presentation or your speech regarding this issue. Please, Pak, time is yours.
Thank you, Pak. Tes. Thank you, Pak Moderator, Pak Det. The Minister of Forestry already made a task force for implementing the multi-business forestry businesses, and one of the potential is Ibu Meizani already explained to you all about the potential of environmental services, carbon. And the other maybe biodiversity credit, for example, and also the other type of businesses. With Pak Edo, we discussion about services and goods. Services is many, but the goods, like Ibu Dirjen said, also about timber is one things because we have the more potential of that, but with sustainable one. And then we doing agroforestry by doing reforestation in Indonesia with the commodities who have good market, coffee, cocoa, vanilla, or the others. So the approach of our task force is slightly different because we want to do the market first, and then we recognize we call it landscape, and then we do the policy. So this is task force under the minister, but market first, landscape, and then policy. What kind of policy we can support the market there and the landscape are there. So I want to explore more about the landscape. So we're thinking about how to collaborate in landscape base, and in the landscape will be consist of PBPH. The PBPH is the concession, concession, and then there are social forestry. Maybe there also have a conservation area, and then of course the customary land, for example. So in one landscape, we want to do things together, and let's say like carbon, maybe they will develop PDD together, yeah. Consists of many companies and then include the social forestry together. So the scale is good, and then we can do that. Based on the policy, did the policy allow to do that or not? This is the discussion, and then we want to try, yeah. And I think if we can do at least piloting in the next 6 month or 1 year, maybe will be good for us. So we already have 6 landscape for do that. with agroforestry and services and goods, and then we will get after that with the pilot project. I think this is about the task force.
Okay, Pak. Allow me to follow up with a question. Based on your experience, before you are very active as a social activist, right? So based on your expertise and also the current program that we are developing, what is your expectation and probably your future expectation on this conceptual framework, and how it will be accepted by the community? Because one of the problem from the previous problem in forestry is a little bit conflict with the community.
Yeah, I think this is landscape approach. It will be one key to conflict resolution. I think, yeah, because yeah, this is funny because first time I'm joined the COP, my card is observer because I'm NGO at the time, and then maybe last 4 years, and then my name card is party overflow because I am joined with Kadin as a vice chairman for environmental and forestry, and now I come here as party. So party, and then go to the apa namanya to yeah, and then negotiation, and I know if we do right now, all the sectors, NGOs, businesses, and government, we are not separate anymore. I think before, if we talking about the equality for the indigenous people, for the sustainability, seems like NGOs word, but now I think it's different. Each yeah, NGOs, businesses, and government now talking with the same word. So this is the time to do, and we need pilot to make sure we can do together, working together, and then with our each apa namanya, each background, each my bahasa Inggris is still not good. We can working together lah. Thank you.
Okay, Pak. Okay, Pak. Very interesting take on the last point. Next, I would like to invite Pak Dan, Mr. Dan Wensing, to talk about this issue. Pak, please, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Real pleasure to be with you today. I have a jacket, it's on my chair, but I'll be melting, so I'm sure you excuse me. No, but as IDH, we are a global public-private partnership facility with a beautiful mandate to transform agricultural markets and specifically to bring the private sector to this discussion, right? To how can we leverage markets for sustainable development. And to your point just now, right? We really believe in the power of public-private partnership. We have to be working together in order to drive this. And our partnership with Indonesia has been for the last 17 years. And we actually started in the forestry sector. So we have been working together for a long time, Pa. First working also on certification of forestry plantations. Later on, we also moved not only in the hardwood, but also in the softwood sector. Then added work on palm oil, coffee, and cocoa, amongst others. And what we've learned is indeed that we need to take a landscape approach, because it is all about land rights, it's about access to markets, it's about several sectors really working together in order to drive this. And what the landscape approach also does, it de-risks the private sector that wants to source from a certain landscape, because they know that there is a collaboration happening, that they can be part of something bigger that drives the transformation. So a couple of years ago, we started off in West Kalimantan, indeed in the forestry sector, working on a concept that we called PPI, Produce, Protect, and Include. And the include part was really, really important, and I think that's also the topic of today, right? It is all about, okay, how do we enable the community to be part of that economic system? And I think in West Kalimantan we've made enormous strides in community forestry. where we've also enabled the communities to have access to finance, to have loans to invest in community enterprise, where they already could prepare for the then pending carbon regulations that are now in place. So I think, working in that collaboration and making it a people-centric approach, really focused on the community, is super, super important. So that's just one example.
Okay, Pak. So you mentioned before that now carbon is one of the commodity. So, but in your opinion, how soon it can be implemented in a community level? I mean, to disperse the benefit as well from the carbon trading.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question, and I think actually already in many places in Indonesia, baselines have been established, right, in terms of what kind of carbon could there be potentially available to the market. And now that the channels are available to go to the market, I think we can move quickly. And I also know that from both international markets, but also international markets in terms of private sector, they've been longing for this moment. They are ready to do this. There's one big driver in transforming agricultural markets globally, and that is related to the scope 3. So really what is happening at the farm, at the plantation, at the community level. But if you look at the investments internationally in carbon, then very little is done yet at that level of the plantation and of the community. So now that there's clarity, I am confident that we can leverage the private sector to start moving as soon as possible.
Very well. Thank you, Pak Dan. I think we can move on to the third speaker, Pak Purwadi. You have your presentation ready? Yeah, of course. Please, Pak.
Thank you. Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, Bu Laksmi, Bu Wijayanti, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, delegates. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. There are some colleagues from API also, Pak Dr. Suwarso, as chairman, Pak Suwindra, Oversight Committee, and also Pak Adi. Thank you for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you in 2020 in World Economic Forum, it has been launched what we call it a nature-based solution and regenerative approach, particularly in forestry. I'd like to show you the urgency how the regenerative forestry business should be addressed in the current situation. Could you please move, please? Yeah. 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 First of all, we are dealing with, of course, what we discussed in this COP30 meeting concerning climate change mitigation and also the restoration of degraded forests and lands. We are dealing with the growing demand of food and energy, also maintaining biodiversity, and also important how to ensure the long-term economic and social well-being. And the last not least, but it is a very important thing, how we build a community and ecosystem resilience. At the same time, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, in 2020, the government of Indonesia also launched, we call it Act number 11, 2020, regarding the Job Creation Act. The most important in this act is how to streamlining the procedure and the regulation, as well as how creating, attracting the business opportunity to accelerate economic growth. And based on the regulation, we have learned in the last 5 years the challenge how to implement the regenerative business in forestry. First one, we have a challenge to how develop and identify a champion of the commodities of the anti-aphis and non-timber forest product within the forest area. The second one is how to ensure upstream and downstream integration approach. Then how to expand market as Pak Onte says, access and demand. Also how to improve the infrastructure and accessibility. I'd like to point out this issue because most of the concessionaires are located in the isolated area. So when you're creating business in the regenerative business means you have to calculate about the logistic and how to mobilize the resources because they are still far away from the closest city and the infrastructure as well. Then how to establish social and benefit sharing mechanism for anti-aphid introduction. Yes, it is very important because as we discussed before, the most problem today or current problem is the tenurial and how we share the benefit of how to access the forest in the community. Then we are dealing with the issue of creating viable financing scheme. And the last, it is the very important thing and how to embed regenerative forest as integral part of the long-term national plan. How to overcome the issues, I'd like to share with you the 7 principles, the basis how to collaborate approach as Pak Onte says and the Bu Dirjen says about the collaborative approach in the landscape management approach. There are seven cases that we have to address when we are dealing with how we implemented the collaborative approach and landscape approach. First of all, is concerned about the maintaining natural ecosystem, then focus on landscape, restore functionality, issues soil, erosion, climate, water, and etc. Then tailor to local condition. So when we are dealing with the issue of the regenerative forest, we cannot deal with the, of course, only the business perspective, but we deal with the, need of the communities there. So the other important thing is the involve stakeholders. That is the key important of the collaborative approach. Then allow multiple benefits. Then the last thing, it is very important how to maintain in the long-term resilience. And let's go through the detail how landscape approach works in West Kalimantan. Pak Dan, thank you very much. Within 10 years, in West Kalimantan, we call it Kubu landscape. We have already identified almost 500,000 hectares, consisting the diverse range of concession. We have natural forest concession, plantation, forest ecosystem, concession, ecosystem restoration, as well as, this is the last important thing, is the social forestry, what we call it village forest. We have almost 500 landscape, and thanks for IDH, 10 years we have been supported, and also attended here the CEO of WWF Indonesia, Pak Aditya Bayunanda, Pak Dito, collaborate with WWF, we set and established landscape until today, and we do hope, Bu Dirjen, we will have the next 6 months, Pak Onte, we can identify this is the potential landscape that we can be addressed to get support from UK. That's what we call it, that we cannot do it by ourselves. Yeah, there are a lot of stakeholders in one landscape, not only community, but also the part of business over there. And also on the last slide, I'd like to show you how the regenerative forest can create circular economy, how food and energy and forest landscape can be contributed. You can see that how timber product and non-timber product can be combined together with the corn, paddy, with agroforestry approach, and also silvopasture, and it can be create economic circular with several commodities over there. Yeah. The last thing is that I'd like to, in conclusion, please go on. Yeah. In conclusion, I'd like to take, please. Yeah. Some key takeaways. First, that we understand and we do believe that regenerative forestry business should be addressed as part of the national plan. Request strong from not only the central government, also the local government. Then landscape management and collaborative approach should be designated based on robust and accurate spatial planning. This is what DG program for the next 3 years, how to focus on spatial planning. And the last, this is, I'd like to highlight more because it requires incentive for FMUs regarding, because when we are going to emphasize the regenerative forest, we cannot do it by ourselves. We have to collaborate with community. That will be important thing that, but then how we create a simple mechanism for a forest partnership and clear benefit sharing and also agreement as well. I'll stop here and let's go to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Purwadi. I have one question for you, if you don't mind. You mentioned about you require strong support from the central and local government. Can you elaborate more about what kind of support that actually needed by the forest concessionaire?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We have been working almost 3 years. Kadin, sorry Pak, I really forget that you're still in Kadin, Pak Unte. Kadin and APAI work together how to propose regenerative forest business as the part of the long-term plan under Bappenas. Yeah, and gratefully and thank you that now the regenerative forest business has been, we call it a major program under Bappenas. That means that it's not only in the big deal of the business perspective or community, but also the central government and the local government, how to allocate the resources. Yeah, we are talking about the infrastructure, we are talking about the accessibility when we are going to build the strong multi-forestry business in one landscape area. So I think the most important thing now is how the central government and the local government attend in the field, how to create, the easily way to doing the business, especially in the infrastructure and the accessibility. That's what we expect. Thank you.
Very well, thank you, Pak Purwadi. We have our fourth speakers joining online, Ibu Arliza. Ibu, can you hear us? Okay. Actually, we have prepared. Yeah, Ibu. Yeah, okay, Ibu. Actually, we already have the pre-recorded presentation from Ibu Arliza. We'll play the video because of technical glitch. So it will be better we play the video, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, Ibu, we will hear the presentation,
Mr.
Ibu, through the video.
Mulyadi, Directorate General of SFM, for the opportunity given to me. May peace and blessing for Allah be upon us all. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all distinguished speakers. I believe that in this good opportunity already available here, Mrs. Laksmi Wijayanti, Directorate General of Sustainable Forest Management, as the keynote speakers, Mr. Dan Wensing, CEO and Chair of Executive Board of IDH, Mr. Purwandi Supriyanto, Secretary General of APHI, Mr. Silverius Oscar Unggul, Principal Advisor to the Minister of Forestry, Regenerative Forestry Task Force. And it is an honor for me to have the opportunity to join you. We have quite different time as about reducing emission. It is about creating shared value for people, planet, and profit. With total emission reaching approximately 10 million tons of CO2 equivalent and more than 37 millions of CO2 equivalent in 2024, we can see in the diagram, in the first diagram that shown in my presentation. In 2024, we have developed a long-term decarbonization roadmap from 2022 until 2060 to achieve a 93% reduction in industrial operational emission by 2060, while addressing the remaining 1.7 million tons of CO2 equivalent through carbon offset mechanism. This transformation stands on two complementary pillars. The first one is industrial decarbonization, including clean ammonia, energy efficiency, fuel switching, and the implementation of CCS and CCUS technologies, which will be implemented through Scope 1 and Scope 2 in our main plan, and also by implementing high integrity nature-based solution, which is implementing through Scope 3 of decarbonization pathway of Pupuk Indonesia. The Scope 3 will be include greening, reforestation, mangrove and peatland restoration, social forestry, and also agroforestry initiative. By 2030, we aim to implement 25,000 hectares of natural-based solution project, equivalent to 27 million trees, and by 2050 expand to almost 365,000 hectares, which is equivalent to 1.7 million tons of CO2 equivalent carbon offsets per year. And 200 hectare agroforestry pilot program of PT Pupuk Indonesia has demonstrated measurable environmental, social, and economic benefit, as confirmed through social benefit analysis and also social return on investment studies, which already conducted by Pupuk Indonesia Group. We collaborate with several partners, including the Indonesian Army, PTPN 8, and also local community group in several locations. Our projects are developed under the Indonesian National Registry System for Climate Change Control, following KMSAH 001 methodology to ensure measurable, reportable, and verifiable result. Each of our agroforestry initiative meets the criteria of carbon project, including structured process such as site survey, feasibility study, preparation and technical design document. Additionally, we also implement a quarterly monitoring system with geotagging to ensure a strong measurement, reporting, and also verification framework, and to maintain project transparency and accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, let me highlight one of PT Pupuk Kujang NBS Agroforestry. This is our company, PT Pupuk Kujang. PT Pupuk Kujang is one of PT Pupuk Indonesia subsidiary located in Cikampek, West Java. The project, the Natural Based Solution Agroforestry Project, conducted by PT Pupuk Kujang, is located in the slope of Mount Merapi in Yogyakarta, specifically in Kepuharjo, Sleman, Yogyakarta. The project sits just 6 kilometers from Indonesia's most active volcano, and despite its risk, this landscape embodies the resilience of both nature and community. As we know that Mount Merapi erupts periodically every 4 to 7 years. The slopes of Mount Merapi represent one of Indonesia's unique tropical mountain forest ecosystem, serving as watershed area for Central Java and Yogyakarta, while also providing habitat for protected flora and fauna, acting as genetic resource reservoir and carrying social and religious significance. So we know that Mount Merapi is a very not only historical but also significant amount in Yogyakarta and also Central Java. So PT Pupuk Kujang identified the NBS program on the Merapi slope as strategically significant. There are several reasons because it has the global relevance to climate change mitigations, biodiversity conservation, and also food security issue. The abundance of local food producing plant species that are still neglected and underutilized in the area. And also in the area, it has an active participation of local community groups. In the Mount Merapi, there is a local community called FPL, Forum Peduli Lingkungan, Forum Peduli, what we call like environmentally concerned group. They name themselves as FPL Palem, concerned with the environment and natural resource conservation on Merapi slopes. The local hero is Mr. Warjono, the one with the black skirt and the black hat, the black traditional hat in the picture. He's the one who has the high initiative in the community on conserving not only the environment but also to conserve the local biodiversity in the Merapi, while also conserving and also building the awareness to the community to build their economy and also concern about how to keep they live and environment steady in the challenging Mount Merapi cycle. There is also support from the academic. As we know, Yogyakarta is near to the well-known university, top university in Indonesia, Gajah Mada University. The FPL Palem is very supported by Gajah Mada University team in developing the local food utilization, not only the local food utilization, but also in the effort of conserving the environment, of conserving the biodiversity, in also preserving or preventing the biodiversity loss. So the Gajah Mada University put a very serious effort to support the FPL Palem and also the Mount Merapi National Park to prevent the biodiversity loss around the Mount Merapi area, and also community forest program. What is also interesting for Pupuk Kujang to be involved in the natural based solution program in the Merapi slopes is that there is also the involvement of Mount Merapi National Park as a representative of the government body in the Merapi area.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Arliza, for the presentation. Are you here? Are you still here? With hello, Ibu. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, Ibu. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know it's quite late in Indonesia right now, but thank you for staying up a little bit late for this session. I would like to ask only one question actually. In this Pupuk Indonesia's project, NBS project is in the forestry sector, right? My question is, what are the consideration from Pupuk Kujang to choose the NBS project in forestry? Because I understand that the NBS could be implemented in also in other sectors, but why Pupuk Kujang choose forestry sector? Could you explain a little bit more, Ibu? Okay, Ibu. Yeah. Yes. Okay, Ibu. Thank you very much. Because of some technical problem, yeah, we get your points. Well, thank you very much for your answer. Uh, Now we have. Yeah. Thank you, Ibu. I will now open the floor for some question and answer. Is there anyone from the floor would like to give comments or questions regarding this topic? Okay, if not, then I would like to ask every one of you to make your final remark or for a final statement regarding this topic and probably your expectation toward this conceptual framework. to come. First, maybe Pak Dan.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And maybe just to, as a wrap up, right? I think there's quite a few potential areas where we can start implementation straight away, right? Where indeed we already have these public-private partnerships, where the engagement with the community is in place, where the engagement is with the plantation owners. Another example of that, which I didn't speak to, is in Aceh. In Aceh, we also have, with the provincial government and with the Kabupaten, plus the private sector, domestically and internationally, we have a coalition going that is already investing in palm, in cocoa, in coffee. So it is, sort of plug and play to move forward with this, to scale it. And I'm sure that also my fellow panelists have other areas that we didn't speak to today, where we can immediately take this action and move it forward. And finally, also on that point, right? I spoke to carbon, I spoke to the international markets, but I think also indeed with international markets, right? I mean, if in comparison to carbon, the international markets and the domestic markets, they procure every year, right? Every year, billions and billions of dollars are invested in procurement. It's a stable flow, and if we can tweak that to support these initiatives on the ground, to support the communities, that is the biggest benefit we can leverage. And then the carbon is the icing on the cake, the enabler to get certain things going. And then, of course, also international finance or national finance to link that to the investments that farmers and communities need to make. But I think it's in that order. If we get that right, then this really becomes like a self-propelled initiative, and we'll see many more communities across Indonesia benefit from what we've been discussing. So that would also be my hope going forward. Thank you.
Pak. Next, Pak Ontep, probably. Okay, Pak Purwadi first.
The government close.
Okay, very well. This Pak.
Okay, yeah. I would say that based on our presentation, we have been learning from almost 10 years, Pak Dan, yeah, how we try to introduce regenerative forest business. Even though the Act launched in 2020, yeah, now actually it is momentum for us, not trial again, yeah. It's not only pilot project. We have to focus on how to scale up what we call it multiple forestry business, not only the pilot project, but it should be scaled up in the commercially business to generate more benefit to a community, the local government, the central government, all, of course, for the business or private perspective. That's what we do hope is that we need full support from the central government and local government in terms of what we are dealing today, a problem especially with infrastructure and then accessibility, because it will be important thing that we are going to develop or establish multi forestry business in the field. That's our expectation. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Purwadi. I will now invite Ibu Arliza to give your some statement, wrap up statement regarding this topic, Ibu. Yeah, I think the problem with the bandwidth, so I will, unfortunately, I have to skip Ibu Arliza, and now Pak Onte, please, Pak.
I want to report to Ibu Dirjen. We already deal, Bu. Will be one of the pilot project, yeah. And then maybe we can show how can we working together, yeah, in the Kuburaya. And then let's do the best for the landscape approach. Thank you.
Yeah, very well. Thank you, Pak. So maybe I will not make a comprehensive conclusion, but one thing that come up from this discussion, that to achieve a sustainable development, it requires a collaborative approach from multi-stakeholders, even from local and national, even from international support, and also it needs a landscape approach, landscape sustainable approach to ensure that the the potential from our forest resources can be utilized and to be equally distributed among our people, including the local community as well. Very well. I think that's up. That is the end of our session today. I will return the floor to Ibu Mana.
Thank you, Pak Dedi, for leading the discussion. And let's stand up together. We're going to have a group picture.